authentic, be accountable, be disciplined.
All right. Well, Megan Myers is here. Appreciate you coming in and talking today. We were talking when you first got in here of kind of why and what's the point and what are we sitting here for. And I want to relay that again, that, you obviously are a staple and I think a really important piece of the fitness puzzle in Erie County. It's not a overly healthy community, and it's something that I hope to help change over time a little bit. And I think you've already started to change that and grown a business and really helped a lot of people. So I think that was the basis of sitting today and talk a little bit to learn about you and what you do and kind of what you stand for and how and why, because it's really intimidating for a lot of people to take the leap out of, change is hard, taking their lifestyle how it is and making changes for the better. So appreciate you coming, and we can just sit and talk about all things surrounding you and what you do. So why don't you fire off with a little bit of, your background and where you're from, kind of how you got into this. Has it always been a lifelong, path of fitness, or is it something relatively new? Like, tell me a little bit about that from way back.
Yeah, I wasn't always into fitness. I didn't know what I was doing, just like many people. It was intimidating for me too.
Yeah.
I can remember still getting nervous to go to the gym and wearing certain things. I'd be insecure, lifting weights. I thought that would make me bulky, so I would stay away from that stuff. So I'd stick pretty much to the cardio equipment when I did go in high school.
Yeah.
I played basketball and softball. I'm from Sagertown.
Okay.
I guess I could start with that. But yeah, my parents didn't work out, didn't eat the best. They'd make me eat vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
So, they knew
More
that.
than my mom. I didn't have a vegetable, I think, till I was 30.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just, they just didn't know. And they weren't into it themselves. So they didn't really give me those behaviors, and that's okay. So it wasn't until I met my husband that, I got into that, lifting and actually taking care of myself, because I do believe the people that you surround yourself with has one of the biggest impacts of your
100%.
life. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. I had no idea what I was doing. And then, and I was at a very bad point in my life, because I wasn't taking care of myself. Shocking. But I hated my job. And before this, actually, I have a bachelor's degree in medical imaging. Went to school, didn't really have a clue what I was doing, kind of just picked something and then went with that, and realized a year and a half in that I absolutely hated it. And and it just spiraled into everything else. I was depressed. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I felt. And then he helped me get out of that. So it was very nice.
That's great. When you were talking there was 15 different things that came to my mind that are great points to discuss. Starting with, that's awesome. Has to be really motivating and valuable to have a partner that has a similar mindset.
Oh yeah. Huge.
That's wonderful. I thought of that before we met today of, I knew your husband was involved in the fitness world. And I think that's awesome. That has to make it a bit easier. Cause I talk to people that want to make a change, and when their partner is not, it just really doesn't work.
It happens so much more than people realize.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of women and, I'll ask oh, does your husband support you doing this or whatever? And it's kind of no. Because I feel also if the wife wants to do it, then it kind of forces the husband to level up. And if they don't level up, then they feel insecure about it.
Yeah.
And it's oh, what if she leaves me? And it's just level up, dude. Just get better.
Yeah, it can get complicated. Like I said, I've seen it not work out on many occasions, but that's really cool that you have someone to share that with and do that with. Keeps you accountable, I'm sure.
100%. Yeah.
If you're both going to the gym and you're both doing things, it's more of a lifestyle.
I even told him, because we're doing this today and usually we work out during this time, I'm let's just take a rest day today, because tomorrow is usually our rest day.
Yeah.
And he's no. And I'm really sore today, and
Yeah. No, that's great. So you started getting more involved and making it part of your daily routine and your lifestyle, and you eventually turned it into, it would be classified as personal training, I would assume, with what you do with Mighty Babes as the company.
Yeah, so it's more online fitness coaching now.
Okay.
I was into personal training in 2017.
Yeah.
When I quit my job, I went to personal training, and then realized I don't like just being stuck to one place, because as you know, like it would be hard in Erie because it's just people aren't really fitness oriented more so than other places. Like I feel like it's easier, and I'm not I can work with anyone all over the world, and I like that, having that impact versus just being stuck to one place and like being in a facility where you're trading dollars for hours, and so I'm not as capped.
Yeah. Do you do how big's your radius that you have people working with?
Like I've worked with people in other countries.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people, I have a coach for what I do, and it's all online. And I'm actually representing the hat today, NBDM coaching. And I was a little intimidated with that at first, of how online versus in person are you going to get the same bang for your buck type of, is it going to work? And I can really speak that it's been a great process. So I think anybody that is shying away from online coaching should really reconsider, because I think there's a lot of value in it, and you really do. There's a few things where I'm like, yeah, I wish I could have her here to look at this and help me do this, but
it's scary also to like take that leap, and like 'cause I'm sure it wasn't cheap, so it's like
it's a financial commitment. But I think when anybody makes the change and says, I want a different lifestyle, you're willing to pay for that. You see those like memes out there that talk about like, you think it's expensive to get a personal trainer. Well, getting cancer is a lot more expensive. And things like that where you're
willing. Or the cost of everything else, like the cost of your kids growing up with bad habits and having health issues, or you dying early, or not, doing things in your life that you actually want to do, so you regret all that stuff. Like that's way worse.
Yeah, absolutely. So it costs a little bit of money, but I've had a great experience with online, and it works good. So with these, you work only with females? Is that what you do? That's your model?
Yeah, I didn't at first. Like it was just kind of whoever needed help, but I niched down to women because men typically
stubborn.
Yeah, I've had some bad experience. Not like terrible. It's just like they don't listen as well as women do, and like I'm big on like the mindset part of things, because I believe that you need that to actually change your lifestyle. Because like you can follow a meal plan, you can follow a workout plan, but to actually make this lifestyle stick, like like I'm sure you had a lot of like mindset shifts. So men don't like to listen to that as much, unless it's just me. Like some men I've had great experiences with, and I'm sure you have a female coach.
I do.
So I'm assuming you listen to her. But
I do. Whatever she said, I've told her many times, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. And there's a lot of things. I want to talk about mindset. I want to talk about, diet and things that you just mentioned there. But I think you're absolutely right of, until you shift the mindset and are committed that you're going to just do it. There's not really excuses. It's not an option. I don't negotiate with myself anymore. And that's really where I am now. I ran 6 miles this morning. Didn't feel like it at all. Like I woke up.
Who feels like waking up 6 miles?
I have to commit my time to first thing. That just works with my kid's schedule. I'm a single dad and working a couple different businesses with my family, and schedule was crazy. So I have to commit 5 to 7 a.m. is health. Like it has to be every day. And I just, like I said, I refuse to negotiate with myself anymore.
How long's that been? Like, when did you make that change?
I would say 3 years ago, pretty much on the mark, is probably when I decided to get a little more involved with health and do things. But the last year and a half is probably when I really started to take it seriously. I hired my coach in December and started working with NVDM. And so that's been, 8 months. But about a year and a half ago is when I just decided, all right, take it up a notch. You have a little bit of potential, and it's made every part of my life better. And that's what
drove you to do that. Like, was there a specific thing that was like, okay, I need to crank this up?
Yeah, it's funny you ask, because when you first started talking, and I said there's 15 different things that triggered in my mind. One of which, like you said, I was just in a place that I was not happy with a lot of things around me. I wasn't that happy with certain friends, and with family, and with job, and with relationships and with myself, where I just was not feeling that good about a lot of things. And I mentioned this, I think it was last episode when we were talking of, I met a good friend of mine and he said, why don't you buy a used bike and try it and get involved? And so really that's where it started, of just being in a place that I wasn't that satisfied. I thought there was more. And then when I start in you and just like anything, we have a complete parallel of what we do in different spaces. But when you submerge yourself in it and you start to meet the people and start to see the vibes and the feelings, and then the post lift feelings, dopamine and endorphins through your body, and same as a post run feeling, you feel accomplished, you feel like great,
you're happier,
you're happier. And then it just trickled into my relationships got better with friends, with family, work got better, everything got better. And so then once I started doing that, it was like, I don't want to go away from that.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes habitual. I look back and laugh, and I've talked about it with some friends. If I remember back in like college, just going to the gym, and you were simply there to like check out chicks. That was all you were doing. You weren't doing shit. Didn't know shit about any of it. And then even in years past, following college, I did a lot of CrossFit and enjoyed CrossFit. It was fun. Really good workout. It's great. It was just hard on my body in some certain ways.
It's hard on a lot of people's bodies.
But I would go 3 days a week. And I thought, like, 3 days a week, that's a commitment. You can't go any more than that. And I need all these rest days. And I look back and I just laugh. I'm like, you were giving it such a weak attempt. Like, I give anyone credit who'll go 1 day a week. That's wonderful. But you absolutely have it in you to make it more of a lifestyle and commit more time and energy to it.
Like, be more grateful that you can move your body and improve it instead of looking at it as a chore. Like, just walk. Start with walking.
Absolutely. I last winter got pretty into weighted vest walks and really like it. And I was really proud. I actually have a good friend of mine that has talked to me a lot about wanting to get some changes and tweak some things in his life. And I was with him last weekend, and he pulled out a weighted vest and went for a walk. And I was like, damn, man, nice job. Like, it really made me proud of him.
You're inspiring.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like I said, who you hang around with. Did you have to, did you stop hanging out with certain people? Yeah,
I had to change that friend dynamic for sure. Some of it just happened naturally when I have different passions and hobbies than you do. So we grew apart. And then some of it, there had to be a line drawn in the sand of what you're doing and how you're acting and your behaviors I don't agree with and I don't like. And it's negative to me. I have a huge focus right now on just positive energy all the time. And I saw something a couple days ago online that just talked about, if you have a negative person in your life, get rid of them as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And the whole bad apple theory of, they can bring people down. They were talking about this study or something along those lines, case study that they did where they took only for like an hour and took a group of 6 people to do a task and a group of 6 people to do another task and put a negative person in one group and a not in the other. And the production everyone just went to shit.
Really?
On the negative, and only for an hour.
Surprised, I guess.
And it's like, that is so true and relatable. So yeah, I had to make a lot of changes, but with that came meeting a lot of awesome people. And then I meet those people and it was so genuine and real, and I aligned with them that I was like, I love this. I am obsessed with meeting people that have that mindset and that are in that space, because they're who you want in your foxhole at the end of the day. It's like, do you want someone that you can have a meaningful relationship and have your back and trust you? And I found those people in this space. So I just gravitated to them. But it's tough. I mean, it's tough to change at all, but tough to change your friends and adjust. I saw something a while back, probably a year ago, that really stuck with me. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, of when you make a massive lifestyle change, you go from not wanting to be around a certain group of people to not quite being accepted by a different group of people. And you find yourself in the middle in an odd gray area where you maybe have a little loneliness, you have a little bit of identity crisis,
Yeah.
but that's just natural.
And that's why I feel like a lot of people will go back to that old lifestyle, because it's like,
100%.
this is so uncomfortable. Let me
Yeah.
just go back to my comfort zone, and I miss my friends.
Yeah.
And instead of that, getting through that uncomfortable period, meeting new people, and then being accepted by that group.
Yeah, it takes time, but I wouldn't change my path at all.
Yeah.
I feel I'm 37 and feel better than I ever have. I feel better than 27.
Mhm.
So minus some aches and pains because I'm getting old. But
Yeah.
all in all, it's a good place to be. And you've obviously taken the same journey.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about you weren't loving where you were at
Mhm.
and a lot of things. And I think that's probably common of people that take a life path that you have where you just want to, you're fed up. You're fed up with all that's around you in many different ways. And you're like, fuck this. I'm going somewhere else.
I'll have conversations, and sometimes I'll ask the women that I'm talking to, what was the final straw for you? Like, what made you, fill out the form? What made you hop on the call today? And, it'll be, oh, I couldn't fit in my pants that I could fit in last year. Or, I wasn't able to run around with my kids. Like, it's usually something like, or I saw myself in a picture and I hated the way I looked.
Right on. Yeah.
It's usually something that triggers that, because it's not just like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about it, let me just randomly fill out this form. It's like, something happened, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
Which is good, because people need that. People need like kind of like a scare, like hopefully it's not a health scare, but sometimes that does work.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I know some people that have had the health scare, and that's not the way you want to have to be forced into it. But man, if that's not a sign,
wake up call.
You see people, and it just living healthy and trying to go down the healthy path. It's just gonna extend your life.
Yeah,
and that's what I tell people. It's like we said a few minutes ago. It's hard now, but it's harder then.
Exactly. Easy now, harder later. Like if you're just eating fast food every day, you're not meal prepping, you're not working out, you're not getting your steps, you're not drinking your water, you're not, managing stress and getting 8 hours of sleep. That's all easy now. You're staying up watching Netflix, not reading. It makes it harder later. Yeah. Because then again, like you deal with all of the health issues and hating the way you look, hating the way you feel, your kids going through the same struggles. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. And then I saw a video recently, and it was like, why do people treat taking care of yourself as a hobby? Like, why is this considered a hobby? Like, shouldn't this be like the standard? Yeah.
The society we live in.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, we live in a particular place that's a bit unhealthy. We talked about that with plenty of other people, and I talk about it often I've traveled. I don't travel a lot, but when I get to travel, I'm always trying to zero in on like the health and wellness of that community. Yeah. And I've went to a few places where I'm like, this is insane. Mm-hmm. I went to Austin, Texas last year, or earlier this year, and it was like, I did a 40-person running group. And then I went out to lunch with a couple guys I got connected with that are athletes down there. And they're like, oh, we're going to go on a 60-mile bike ride, a bunch of our buddies. Like, their buddies work out together, and their buddies are healthy together. And they have a good time. They do plenty of fun things. It's not a chore. It's just a lifestyle where they're like, yeah, this is a fit community, and these are the hobbies we do. It's like, wow, that would be pretty cool to live in.
That just doesn't happen here, unless it's like a 5K or something. Like, it doesn't just happen randomly.
It doesn't happen a lot. We're getting some good trends. The local bike shop here, one of them is doing some Monday night rides. A14 down in Edinburgh, they do a Wednesday night rides, and there's some groups starting to uptick with it, which I think is great. But I'd love to see more and more activities surrounding, moving, like you said, movement and doing things. And that can be lifting, that can be anything. I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as you're active.
Yeah. Why do you think Erie is so unhealthy? You think like the winter, like...
I don't think that helps. The fact that we have a bit of, some challenge with the weather. When people get to have sunshine 9 months out of the year, that just lends itself, because their hobbies don't have to stop. Someone that likes to hike, they're not going to hike in a foot of snow. Somebody that wants to go for walks, they don't feel like bundling up and doing it. So
golf, I've been golfing.
Golf, I see you guys golf. That's cool.
I'm scared like when we can't anymore.
Yeah, golf's a good hobby. That's fun. Like, again, places that can golf 12 months out of the year. That's amazing. Yeah. So I think that definitely hurts it. I don't know what else. I think it's just culturally been lacking. There's not, how many fitness stores to go buy fitness things are there in Erie? How many, like I said, activities and annual repetitive fitness-based businesses or activities are there? There's just not a lot. And I think people go in different directions, and, it just kind of grows and grows and grows. And it just hasn't been a big focus in the area, it seems. I don't know, but it sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough. I have a entity that I do some work with that I wanted to put on a little event type of thing. And I was told, if you don't have a lot of alcohol, no one will want to go. And I was so pissed.
Yeah.
And I still think about it. I don't think that person even knows that I think about it. And that even when they said it, I don't think they put thought into it. But then I sat back, that was months ago. And it still bothers me of like, you're telling me I can't do this good thing for the community if I won't draw in people unless they can get drunk. And I was like, I still think about it clearly because I just brought it up today. But
that's crazy. Yeah, that is.
And it was like, what the hell is wrong that I can't have a sober event?
Yeah.
And that's going to be a problem.
Weird. Yeah, it's no fun or lame.
Yeah, no fun.
You drink?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I was just texting a friend last night about alcohol, and it's been alcohol with me. I could probably talk about that for an hour, but it's a tough thing for me. I grew up, I have a family that has pretty much promoted alcohol abuse, you could say, for most of my life. All wonderful people. I love them all dearly, but I just grew up where alcohol was at the forefront of any event, any gathering was like, we're getting fucked up.
Everyone's drinking, or you're weird if you're not.
Yeah. So it was just what I knew. And I went right into that lifestyle. I mean, our family makes wine on the side. Damn good wine, and it's a solid little, we make about 2,000 bottles a year, and it's kick-ass stuff. So what else you do besides drink it every night?
Yeah, of course.
So I drink it every night. And then really what changed with me, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole so deep, but was threefold. That what I'm doing to try to be healthy and active and perform at a certain level, alcohol is nothing but negative.
Yeah.
Period. There's no one that's going to convince me anything but it's negative. It hurts your organs, swells your brain,
it does
makes
nothing
you depressed.
good for
There's
you.
nothing good.
It's literally poison.
It's literally poison. Legal poison. So that was like, okay, I want to perform to a certain level. I have goals that I want to hit in the next year. In 2 years, I don't want that as part of my life for now, to see if I can push my body to the furthest limit. Secondly, that I mentioned was, just alcoholism is prevalent and in my family. And I wanted to kind of check that and see, do I have a problem? Like, am I on the path of that? I was drinking almost every day. I would say probably every day for many, many years. And then not like getting drunk, but just, you're going to drink alcohol with dinner. I'm going to have a glass of wine with a steak, not of water. That's just what you do. Checking that. And then children. I have 3 kids, and it ties right to what we were talking about. When I started to meet people in this space, I would talk to them about alcohol would get brought up, and they're like, I don't really drink. And I'm like, you don't drink? What do you mean you don't drink? You're really cool. And you don't drink. And I started to kind of look at that of, holy shit, like there's some really cool people that don't drink every day. And I didn't know that was a thing.
And you're probably around people that think it's weird to not drink.
Yeah, it is. Now that I don't drink much, I mean, I've drank probably once or twice since December, and I have just as much fun. And I go to things, and I do stuff, and I go camping, and I go out to dinner, and I'll do it, and I have just as much fun, and it really blows people's mind. And then there's often a negative. You get picked on a little bit, you get made fun of a little bit, you get sideways comments.
Always.
Like,
even if you're eating healthy foods, like people.
That's weird. I think that's the root of what the hell is wrong with all of this.
Even going to the gym.
Yeah.
Oh, would you come from the gym? Like at work, people are like saying stuff. It's like,
would you swim across the lake this morning? I'm like, I mean, might have, but no. But if I did, why would you pick on someone that's healthy?
It's
And that goes right
insecurity.
to insecurity. And
Mhm.
I have a, you know, burning ideology that, I didn't come up with it, but the whole hurt people hurt people.
Mhm.
I live by that.
Yeah.
There's nothing I would do on a daily basis that promotes negative to somebody. I have
Yeah.
no desire to. Yes, we have to get in conflicts running a business and doing certain things, but
Mhm.
conflict can be healthy and conflict is needed. But to demote someone for like, you look good, or you worked out really hard today, or you're
Mhm.
sweating your ass off, or you post about hitting a PR on the bench, or anybody that's going to like talk shit
Yeah.
is pissed at themselves.
Exactly. Oh, you're showing off. It's like, no, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, they people that would promote that negative are
Yeah.
just unhappy,
Yeah.
and they're hurt in their own way.
Yeah.
And I see it all around me. And then when you start to live the life of being positive and positive energy, and surrounding yourself with those type of people, it becomes even more apparent of
Mhm.
like, you look at someone, you're like, damn, that dude's just sad.
Mhm. Yeah,
He's
it's
just
not even worth like you
he's
to get into
unhappy.
it with. It's like, that sucks.
Hard for me not to. A flaw of mine, I like to try to control things I can't control.
Yeah.
Huge flaw of mine. And I'd look at those people and want to try to convince them to change.
Mhm.
And then it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to change.
Yeah.
You got to want to do it
I
yourself.
always try to like talk fitness whenever I'm around people.
Yeah.
Like we were just at a wedding on Saturday, and trying to convince someone's mom that they need to get into this, and she said she would, so
Yeah.
to be continued. But everyone says that. Oh yeah, I'll start Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. What how do you, back to your business, how do you, is it just through like marketing, word of mouth? Do you try to do that and solicit, get people in? Solicit was a bad choice of words, but like attract them to what you're doing? Or how do you get people to jump on with you?
Mostly social media and
Yeah.
referrals.
They reach out to you and say,
Yeah.
hey, like you said, I don't like how I looked. I don't
Yeah.
like this. I want to
Yeah.
make a change.
Yeah, they've
Gotcha.
been seeing my posts. Like, I'm sure it's not like, oh, I just saw one post of hers. It's like they've been consuming my content for months, years, and then they're finally
Ready
ready
to take the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
They
maybe,
watch in the shadows.
yeah. And maybe they weren't ready at that time, and then
Yeah.
they finally see a video, and then it's the right time for them. Like winter's coming, they can't fit it in their pants, and it's like, oh shit, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly referrals and social media.
Do you have people that work with you long term? It's an ongoing thing, or do you have people that do like a program, a 1 month, 3 months, or is it just stay as long as you want to stay?
Yeah, I was structuring it as like 12 weeks. So I realized probably like 6 months ago it's not long enough. Like, yeah, you can get a really great transformation in 3 months, and I've had like a lot of really good ones, and it's good for marketing because it's like, oh, 3 months and this can be you kind of thing. But a lot of people need more time because how much progress can you really make in 3 months with like your mindset and actually changing habits, rather than like still focusing on a quick fix. So yeah, I have people that have worked with me for over a year, but now it's kind of more, this is how long your goals are going to take, so this is what I would recommend.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It takes time.
Mhm.
And little steps, and if you really want to make a change, it's probably tough on some people to just throw them in head first, and there's such big changes it turns them off. I'm sure you have to like ease them into things, and like you said, over 12 weeks I could see how that would be too short to get substantial lifestyle change.
It has to be like, for most people, little small changes makes the biggest difference. Because if you have somebody that's already busy, a busy mom with 3-4 kids, and they try to get 10,000 steps a day, try to work out 3 times a week, they're meal prepping, and then they're also doing everything else that they normally be doing, taking care of the kids and making food for them and cleaning the house and working and all of that. Like, it's just overwhelming where it makes them not want to do anything. And I'm the same way. Like, I just want to drop everything and do nothing if I'm like super overwhelmed. So if you typically get 4,000 steps, let's try to up it to like 6,000. Let's we don't have to go to 10,000. That would be great, but if you don't have the time for it, then
I'm sure you have to get pretty creative with people's schedules. That's one thing that I really appreciate about my coach and our online program, is that she fits it to me. And that's so important. I'm sure you do the same exact thing, that people would get intimidated of, if I don't want to let Megan down, I can't do exactly what Megan wants. There's no one box you need to fit into. It's like, if you want to make the change and do this and get better, we'll find a way to help you get better.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what, the fluidity of it is great. And that's, I think, what is clutch for people that have busy lives, because it's overwhelming. Like we said, of like, I got to get 6,000 steps in. I got to go to the gym for an hour. I got to do a 1 mile run. It's hard to fit in.
Yeah.
But that's good. And I hope people will understand and see that, of like, people can be fluid, get with someone like Megan and let her help you and adapt and get creative. I mean, my coach puts workouts in for the week on Sundays. So every Sunday I'm all excited, like Christmas, to get on there and be like, what do I have to do this week?
Yeah.
And I would say 30% of the weeks I can do exactly how she programmed. And then we're texting every day, and it's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This morning, for example, I usually swim on Tuesdays, and it's like, pools have hours and you have to do all this stuff. It's like, hey, can we move Thursday's workout to Tuesday? And I'll do the Tuesdays on Thursday. So the creativity, I think, has allowed me to succeed with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, what people should understand, that you can get creative. There's not just a program. You don't have to download this thing off the internet. And if you miss a day, you're screwed and you should quit.
And that's how people think.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like on the opposite end, you need to make time for it. Like, I'll talk to a lot of people, and it's 100%. Like, I can't find the time to go to the gym. And it's like,
I hate hearing that.
Yeah. You don't just stumble upon time. Like, you make time. You'll fill that time with whatever, scrolling social media, watching Netflix. Like, you're going to find something to fill that time. Like, let's just make time for working out.
It's all self-discipline.
Yeah.
Motivation only gets you to the door. And if you have discipline to say, like we said earlier, I'm not negotiating with myself, there is time. I will not ever let someone tell me there's not time. You hear it. I've had people come to me and try to use that excuse of, and then I just ask questions. What time do you go to bed? They answer. What time do you wake up? They answer. And do you do this? And then by the end of the conversation, they're like, damn it, I have enough time. Yeah. I have time. I totally do.
Let me see your phone. Let me check your screen time.
That's true.
Yeah. I always try to challenge excuses. Like, for the most part, if I'm talking to somebody, like at the wedding, like I forget what excuse she had some excuse. But I always challenge that excuse, because most people aren't going to challenge their excuses, because they're like, oh, you don't have time? Yeah, I understand. Like, I don't have time either. It's like, no, like, you do have time, and like doing that kind of thing. But yeah, for discipline, you can't base what you're doing on how you're feeling. Absolutely. Or nothing would get done. Yeah. I would still be sleeping. I would not be going to the gym. I wouldn't want to do anything. I would just, we want to be comfortable.
We want to be comfortable. I think we're too comfortable. Yeah. I think we've evolved into a society that is just, everything's comfort driven. Yeah. We want to get easier, do less for more. And that's technology advancing that way. Everything has advanced to
comfort. We can't even go get our own fast food. Like, someone's bringing your fast food now.
Absolutely. It's comfort driven, and it takes a little bit of discomfort to get into this, for sure. But I want to make it clear that someone that's willing to go 1 day a week is a good thing. Yeah. It's all good.
Yep. Something is always better than nothing.
Is good.
I will always say that.
There's always time for more. Yeah. If you want to do more and take time for more. One thing I was thinking of when I was driving up here of with what you do, I know it drove me crazy. How obnoxious was it during COVID that our government and we don't need to go government, we can talk about that for hours too, but never promoted any of this. There was zero talk of get healthy, see sunlight, go for a walk, get your 10,000 steps.
Gyms were shut down, but like Lowe's and Walmart open.
Wild to me.
Yeah.
Wild to me. That had to be maddening for someone like you too, of sitting there saying like, this would be a good opportunity, pivotal point in our country, that we could get some people more healthy.
Yeah, that's actually when I went online. So prior to that, I was in person. Yeah. And then had to make the switch to online.
Oh, due to COVID. Yeah. Yeah. Had to do it.
Yeah, because obviously people needed help then more than ever, but also the gym needed to make money as well. Yeah. But yeah, my husband actually, he stayed open for part of it that he wasn't supposed to. I think there was another shutdown that happened maybe like 2-3 weeks, something like that. He just stayed open through that, and the health department showed up.
Rules need to be broken during that time.
The health department showed up and came to the door and said, and came with like police officers and said, you need to shut down. And he said, like, what happens if I don't? And they didn't know the next step.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, nothing came of it, shockingly enough.
Yeah. What a shame that businesses were put in that position. It's drives me crazy. That whole process was so mishandled all the way across the board.
Some people got really healthy during that period, and some
Yeah.
people obviously gained a lot of weight because, people had more time to go on walks, and, they were more intentional about what they were eating. But then the opposite end, people
certainly
weren't.
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, maybe more on the latter, that you're snacking, you're eating, you're stuck in your house, you're eating shit.
Eating your feelings.
Yeah. That was a tough time. I can't say that really had an impact on me with the health stuff. I was kind of new into it right around then, so I wasn't doing it prior, and then had to face the shutdowns and figure all that out. But I'm sure that was tough on a lot of people to navigate. You talk to me about, I don't like the word diet. I just don't like it, but like intake or fueling, we'll call it, or
a diet is just like what you're eating though. Like I feel like the word diet has just a negative connotation now, because diet for a lot of people means eating very little. But I feel like diet, I don't know what the definition is, but like your food, your intake.
Absolutely. I diet and starving yourself. Like I feel like they're there, that people think the word diet means, like you said, eat very little, eat a bunch of rabbit food, on with your day. I don't agree with that at all.
No, just like, what does your diet look like?
Yeah. And what do you, everyone's probably tailored a little bit differently, but I think you've kind of mentioned in some of your stuff online that you do promote that ideology of still eating and enjoying some things you like. And it's not about starving yourself. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what's your mindset and thoughts when it comes to like intake and people, tying that into all this?
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled with that myself. Like, I remember being on Pinterest when I was in high school and like looking for diets and like trying to lose like the most amount of weight in the least amount of days possible. Like, I remember I did one. It was like the 3-day military diet, and it was like a grapefruit in the morning with black coffee. What was lunch? A can of tuna. Maybe a hot dog or something. Or maybe the hot dog was for dinner, and then 1 cup of vanilla ice cream, and like that was it. And I think the calories end up being like 900 calories all day.
Wow.
Yeah, so obviously they promote you losing 10 pounds in 3 days, because again, you're starving yourself. But yeah, it's just not good, and it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your physical health. It's not good for your metabolism. Like, you're doing more harm than good, and I wish more people realize that, and realize that losing weight doesn't have to suck. Like, you can still eat a decent amount of food, and as long as you're choosing healthier options, like, you're going to be full, and it doesn't have to be that you're hungry all the time, because I'm not good when I'm hungry. Like, it's bad. So I need to feel full. So protein is a great way to do that. So making sure you're getting enough protein. But yeah, no one should be eating less than 1,000 calories ever.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like a sustainable model.
No.
Nothing really good in life or is easy and like a quick fix. Like, nothing's quick. If it's worth doing, it takes time and perseverance and dedication. So that's enough to say, like, the idea of, let me see how fast I can lose 10 pounds in 3 days. That's not.
And you gain it back. And you just gain it back because because you just did something that you can't sustain. It's miserable. So like, why am I going to continue to be miserable? Eventually you're going to hit a plateau. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I suck and this isn't working. So I'm just going to go back to the way I was eating before.
You got to treat yourself every once in a while.
Yeah. And I heard something that was like, how to stay unhealthy and unfit forever is keep looking for quick, easy, and cheap.
Certainly. Yeah.
Like, you want the cheapest program. You want the, the quickest fixed diet. And it just...
Isn't there a pill or something is out recently that people are taking to lose weight? There's some sort of...
Like injections? And
maybe it's an injection. I just remember hearing something about something that people are like taking to lose weight. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah. That's like a kind of a controversial topic. I'm not opposed to it, I guess. I'm opposed to people using that instead of changing their habits. Because if you're doing both, cool. But if you are just using that, you're not working out, you're not, drinking your water, doing all the stuff, you're
Yeah.
not lifting weights to keep your body strong, you're going to lose muscle mass. And that is another big way that you gain it back is because you lose more muscle mass. You're not going to be burning as many calories. Your metabolism is going to slow down and it's going to make it harder for you.
Yeah.
So, when you come off of this injection, you're going to be screwed if you didn't change your habits.
Yeah.
So
it all goes down to habits. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever read Atomic Habits? The book?
By James Clear.
Yeah. Good book.
I don't think I finished it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a good book, and it talks about small habits and small changes add up to big things.
Yeah.
And
like attaching habits to something you're already doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I have a different perspective with intake because so much what I do is cardio based.
Mhm.
And endurance based that burns a lot of calories. So
Mhm.
I eat a ton of food.
Do you have a big appetite?
Oh, I'm starving right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starving.
Did you eat anything?
I had an English muffin and a banana,
Okay.
but that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of black coffee. But yeah, it's a little
You
different.
get some protein in there.
Yeah, it'll happen today at some point. But it's a little different for people that do that, and you can't, like I said, the idea of trying to starve yourself while trying to do a path like this, I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you're just calorie depleted like crazy. I mean, I like that aspect of what I do because I do get to eat a lot of food, and I put it down, and thankfully don't gain weight. I think some of that's what I do, maybe my metabolism, genetics, everything else. But, it's nice to be able to work hard enough that you can still eat some good food and some big food and not be worried about it. Cause I wouldn't like to try to be pigeonholed in one of those diets where you're, just eat always hungry.
Yeah.
That would be really hard to do.
Were you big before?
Nope.
No.
I've always been pretty lean. That heavy. I was 220 pounds in college, and I'm 192 now. Okay. So I'm a lot less than I was in college.
Were you soft then, or was it like a muscular build?
No, you just crush protein and lift at the gym.
Yeah.
Like I said, you go there to check out chicks. You gotta gain a bunch of weight, and you eat and drink like shit in college. So it was definitely a bit more just soft and heavier, and maybe not the healthiest way. I mean. And again, going to the gym's a good thing, regardless of how and when you do it, but it wasn't for the right reasons in college. When I started doing more endurance-based things, I hadn't run a mile since the mile run in elementary school. I mean, hadn't happened. But
did you hate running, like when you first got into it?
Yeah, running is hard. I still don't love running, but it is the best hit for cardio that I've found. I mean, I love to bike. Biking's my favorite thing to do, but I was messaging with a friend this morning. He was doing an aerobic test on the bike, and I do a lot of heart rate based training and, kind of diving into zone 1 through 5 and heart rate work. And to get high enough on the bike takes so much more work than if you go for a run, like you're gassed, like you can hit it and get a really good workout and be dumping sweat. I'm a super heavy sweater. So, I like that, but it's tough. And when I first started, it was pretty challenging. I mean, I ran a mile. That was all I did, and ran a mile. And I remember being like, wow, I haven't done that since I think 5th grade. But then you get into it a little bit, and then the runner's high is a real thing, I think that's more than a runner's high. I think it's anything you do hard with intent high. If you do a big leg day and crush a bunch of squats, you get the same high. You go have a huge bike, you get the same high. I think it's just the chemical release in your brain that feels good. You're so satisfied with what you did.
I don't get that as much with lifting. Like, I'm accomplished and, I feel good. But when I do classes, I'll sometimes pop into the classes at the gym, and it'll be like a high intensity class. After that, like, I get that feeling of like the high feeling. Running, I don't run enough to know what that is. Tough. But the last time I ran a mile was the Murph. We did the Murph, and that sucked. But I wore like completely flat shoes, and my calves were sore for a week. It was the worst thing.
That doesn't help. good shoes with running is critical.
Yeah.
Or you do get pain and issues and blisters and everything else. That reminded me of a very good friend of mine. We were down in Panama, Central America last year, and we decided, well, let's hike that mountain. And it was this volcano, the largest point in Central America. I think it's about just under 10,000 feet of gain, and she didn't have shoes, appropriate shoes, and she's like, no, I'm gonna do it. You know, she's a tough chick.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right. So my brother-in-law and her and I did it, and then her husband and my sister just stayed back at the resort and just kind of hung out. And she, I think, doubled up her socks because they were too big, and like tried to get this all, and she wrecked her feet. Like she was miserable.
Yeah, for weeks probably after.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
Yeah.
You know, without the proper gear, because it's hard on the body. But they say, you know, us as a species, you know, we're born to run. You know, our bodies are designed to run. I think we've just got out of that. You go back hundreds of years and thousands of years. I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah.
So we're made to do it. I think it's just hard to get back into it and, you know, do it right. It's tough. It's tough on the body. There's no doubt. Out of anything I do, I've had the most injury or flare-ups or overuse feelings with running. I mean, it's just tough I still struggle with some knee issues, IT band issues, and, you know, it is what it is. But the key, I would say, to running to anybody is slower is better. Don't worry about the pace. Don't worry about anything like that. Just get out there and get moving, and, you know, building your aerobic threshold is a good thing. We talked about it as a team last night on a Zoom call, and all about zone 2 training and just low intensity work, and, you know, train slow and you can run fast. And, yeah. So one thing I was thinking about, changing subjects a bit, you talked about mentality. We've talked a lot about mentality anyways, and getting your focus. Is there other things that you have your clients do to grow that and work on that? Is there, you know, yoga, meditation? Do you do any of that stuff? Do you have any interest in that space?
I promote journaling.
Okay.
But I'll send them a lot of, so I have them take like a mindset quiz, I guess you call it. Like I send them a form and they fill that out, and I get that. So it shows me what areas that they're specifically struggling with. And then I have forms based off of those areas that I send to them. And then we also do a weekly call where I'll address some of those topics. Like if there's something that a lot of people are struggling with that are on the calls, then I'll go over that specific topic. But yeah, weekly calls, and then sending them specific PDFs and documents on that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's really good stuff. You know, strengthening your mind as much as your body. That's a deep topic, and there's a lot of things you can do. But I think if you really want to perform and be at your highest potential, to be physically fit, you need to be mentally fit. And there's a lot of things people do.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard to change the way your mind works, because it's been the same for years. Yeah. Most of people's lives. So it's hard. It's hard to change your identity.
It really is. There's things you work on, though. I like to try to pick something and identify that this is a flaw or weakness of mine, or something that I know is not good enough of my how I behave in that space. One, like this year, just to be 100% transparent, I worked on being less reactive. Of something happens, pisses me off, rather than jump right to what your reaction is and dive on it. Silence is so powerful. Yeah. And it's really hard to do for me. I am a stubborn man. I'll admit that too. So I want to just be right at like, well, no. And dive on it. But man, it's the same as even in writing with an email. You get an email at work that you're like, this pisses me off. That's bullshit. That's not right. I need to address that. I'll type the email and then be like, don't push that, don't. And then wait, give it like 6 hours or the next day, and your mindset changes completely. Yeah. Your approach, and you get more out of that. And I've worked on that a lot. But those are the mindset shifts that I think everybody should take a look at and say, hey, here's something I don't think I do that well. And I don't, because I look at things, it's like everybody, unless you're a complete, narcissist or, lunatic, you can identify that you have flaws and that I need to be better at that. Yeah. And I think working at those little things along with the physical is just a great combo to feel better, be better. Like I said, all the relationships and everything around you will be better if you're willing to accept that and work at it.
I think self-talk's a big one that a lot of people struggle with, like a negative mindset and negative self-talk that's just all day. That's what they're hearing.
Yeah, that'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
I tell people now that I've changed my life, generally speaking, I go to bed happy and I wake up happy every day after day. That's for a lot of reasons, like we said, of eliminating toxic relationships and less alcohol. A lot of things go into that, but it's damn good. And I feel terrible for people that are unhappy and won't change and are just miserable and have that negative energy all the time. That is exhausting. And man, if they could just do it, they'd be so happy.
Going back to the alcohol thing, I feel like for me, like I don't really drink that much. I'm not opposed to it. Like I will have one. I got a little too drunk in February and I'm like, I'm really done with that because I was throwing up all day the next day. Like it wasn't just like, you throw up, you feel better. All day. Like I had to get an IV. Like they came to my house. It was so bad. So like that was a wake up call. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I still do, but not to that extent. I'll probably never get like that. Hopefully never get like that again. But I feel like you just kind of have to ask yourself, why am I drinking in the first place? Like, why do I need this? Like, for a lot of people, it's, oh, well, numbing your feelings, or it makes your anxiety go away and you're more fun, all this stuff. It's like, let me just try to be like that without this drink.
Yeah.
Like, let me just try to be my true authentic self. Like, if I want to be more fun, let me just be more fun and like, let my guard down or, whatever that means. I feel like it's just taking a look and saying, okay, why do I need this substance to do what I actually want to do?
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that where they're insecure and think they need to loosen up, or like you said, unhappy about this and the other thing. And that's a great way to look at it of, why do I need that? What is the point of this? What is my reasoning behind doing it? And some of it's just social and fun. Like it's a good time. I don't knock drinking. I'll drink again in my life at some point. I agree with you of I don't have a desire to get smashed off my ass and be hungover, because man, is that painful.
Yeah. And it just ruins and the next day.
Yeah. I'm addicted now to the baseline of my mornings. I feel the same every day. When I wake up, maybe a little sore, maybe this, but I pretty much go to the bed at the same time, weekends or weekdays. I pretty much wake up at the same time, weekends or weekdays. So the baseline I have is I'm addicted to that. Like I don't want to sacrifice it. I almost maybe it could be classified as anxiety, that if this could affect how I feel the next morning, and I don't like it. I shy away from it because I really like waking up and feeling damn good. And that's something that's just where I am at right now.
Yeah. And we only get so many days. So it's like, why am I going to waste a whole day after I drink? Because I feel like shit, I don't want to do anything. I'm just lazy and like, it's just not worth it. So. Yeah.
And I didn't have back in the day the shut-off switch to be like, I'll have two.
Yeah.
And
all or nothing.
I switched to water and peace out early. We were talking about my dad and I the other day about doing the Irish dip or Irish goodbye. We were arguing, is it the Irish dip or Irish goodbye? I don't know, but I always call it the Irish dip. I was really bad at that back in the day. I wanted to be the last one up. I wanted to see all the fun. I wanted to be 2 a.m. Like I'll be the last one to be like, all right, everyone good? I'll go to bed now. Versus now evolving into, I have no problem just doing the Irish dip and peacing out and go to bed, and you don't miss much. The next day you wake up and it's like, well, that shit happened and that happened and that. I'm glad I was asleep for that.
What time do you go to bed now?
Pretty much 9:30. Yeah, that's pretty standard. I try to be done. My kids go to bed around 8, and then I do a certain amount of things that I want to get done, make a pot of coffee, and you try to be in bed by 9:30. If the clock hits 10, I get kind of annoyed because I know it cuts into my day.
Yeah, you're going to be tired. And
I really like to try to do 9:30 to 5, pretty standard. Sometimes I can sleep in a little bit more, 5:45 or whatever, but that's pretty much what I do. Could stay up. I'm usually pretty tired though, with mental and physical exertion throughout the day. I don't have trouble sleeping. That's another thing, that when you live a little clean and a little better and move, I sleep really good.
Yeah.
That's not everybody. I have some friends that struggle to sleep, but I'm thankful that I don't. I sleep hard and sleep pretty good. So last night was like 9, 10. I just went to bed. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned journaling. I think that's pretty great. I bought a journal and this winter and started doing it and really had enjoyment with it. It was something fun I would do evening, generally lay there, make a few notes on the day, my thoughts, where I'm at with things. And
is it like a guided journal, or you just kind of write down
empty pages? Yeah. Dated it. There's probably some things in there that, good or bad. It'd be probably interesting for people to read because I ratted myself out on things and just like, you really spill your guts in something like that. Unfortunately, I got away from it. I'm not quite sure why. Well, it really was, I had a bad back injury during the winter and was pretty hurt. And I got out of all routine other than trying to not be in pain. So it was a really tough process. And that absolutely is when I stopped doing that. But I've stared at it a few times and I'd like to get back because I think that's a good mental.
Yeah. I think even just something as simple as writing down things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Get you in the routine of that, because it's not like you have to commit to writing a whole page of anything. It's just like, write down 5 things you're grateful for.
Yeah. Talk about putting you in a good mood. If you're talking about, I love my kids and I love this and I love this, it'll just make
instead
you smile.
of like living in a place of lack, like, oh, I wish I had this house, or I wish I was, like this.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to do. Have you ever tried any like breath work or anything like that?
No.
So I had a wild experience. There's a girl in Meadville, Ashley Ray Breathwork, worth checking out. I know her just through the gym and the community down there, and she's a fitness. I believe it would be called fitness model, like very active in the gym, and then does like the bikini competitions. Again, I'm not sure the terminology there, but she also has a breathwork company that she does, and so there was a charity event of some sort, raffles, baskets, and our company, we bought her breathwork class for our office staff. So we went there and did it, and I'll admit I was skeptical. I'm like, what is this all about? We'll see. I was willing to try it, absolutely, but I just didn't understand.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are like that, though.
So we had all of us sitting in a room, comfortable, sweatpants, you shake the nerves off. Everyone's, you're sitting beside your office staff in socks and sweatpants on a blanket. It's a little weird, but we're like, let's give this a shot. So she starts talking and, everyone's closing their eyes and laying down, and she's going into a really soothing conversation. And she started talking about, all mindset. It's all mindset and breathing and how much breathing can really change things in your body, which I didn't know. And she started saying, like, you might be overcome with emotions. We're going to do this and this and this. And, she was like, you might get emotional. And I'm laying there thinking like emotional. I didn't, this is odd just from breathing.
Yeah.
And I can't say that experience happened to me, but we went through the whole thing, and I won't go into it because that's her job, but it was very good. It was very interesting. It was euphoric feeling to do these breath sequences that she did, rhythmic breathing. And we finished, and everyone sat up and kind of starts talking. And I look around, they were crying. Like several people. My brother-in-law was crying. And another gal that works and they were overcome exactly what she said of this
You
process.
Didn't have that feeling.
I didn't have that. I didn't get emotional.
What did you
felt
feel
a lot
like?
of good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes.
Just soothing, and I felt good. My mind felt clear. You felt like you could process more clear after it. You felt like an odd healthiness overcome you. It was just a good feeling. It was a positive experience. But I was amazed at these people that were actually overcome, and they were like, I have no idea why I cried.
Yeah.
Your mind goes to a place and your body's doing this rhythmic activity, and it stimulated emotions. And it was really interesting.
Yeah.
So
they probably felt really good, like just getting that emotion out.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool process. I think diving into those little things you can do for your mind is good. Try different exercises, try reading, try journaling, try yoga. I've done yoga probably 3 times in my life. Really cool. Would love to do it more.
Even listening to mindset podcasts.
Yeah. It's all good to do. There's some good ones out there. Reading books, good for the mind. Because I think that's a big takeaway of this is it's a lot more than just doing the physical, doing the mental aspect of it. What kind of started me down that. I did 75 hard last summer. And that really, like when you asked me the timeline of when I made some lifestyle changes, that was probably a big trigger that I had wanted to do it. I was waiting. Austin Waters, our mutual friend, great dude, and he had just done it. And him and I text a lot, and we're texting about it. And I'm like, I just got to wait till I'm ready, because when I do something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. I wasn't there with the self-discipline to do it. And then one day I said, now's the time. I'm doing it, starting tomorrow. And it was an awesome experience. Hard on the mind, hard on the body, but definitely got in really good shape. And I think it kick-started the idea that you can do something every day, because you had to for 75 days.
Twice a day. And
I think that was a big catalyst of change in my life. And I'd recommend that for anyone to try it if they wanted to, because I think it's hard. You're going right in hard, but I think that's what I needed as a person to get engaged in that lifestyle more. And it was a cool experience. And I give Austin credit for
he was trying to get us to do it too.
Yeah.
We didn't. I feel like for people new, I wouldn't recommend that, because it is so intense.
It is
like
intense.
People do need like little bite-sized things to do.
Yeah.
But for people like us, like we definitely could do it to get to that next level of like discipline and just doing something that's hard. Because like for a lot of people, it's hard for them to just go to the gym once. It's hard to meal prep once. You know, it's hard to read a book, 10 pages or whatever. It's like that stuff's already hard. So like, let's not do like 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside and, all that stuff.
Yeah, that was really tough. I catered it a little bit. I'll put an asterisk if it is required. Beside it, that I was also training for a big race. So if I had a 3-hour bike ride, I was counting that as 2. I wasn't going to go do it then. If I had a 45-minute workout, 2 45-minute workouts you're supposed to do, if I did a 3 or 4 hour bike ride, I was done for the day.
Yeah.
So if I need an asterisk,
I think that's
technically maybe people would say, "Oh, you failed," but I'm pretty sure it worked out fine.
Yeah. Like how long of a pause do you need between? Like if you just
exactly. If I got off the bike and grabbed a coffee and went back on, does that count?
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was time lapse between the 2 that you needed, but either way, it was good for the mind and the body. It was a cool kickstart to getting healthy. So, well, cool. Great talking with you. I think you're an admirable person in the community, and you stand for the right things, and you're motivating. So, any women out there, get a hold of Megan. If you want to make some changes, I think it's really great. We need more people like you in the community. So I appreciate you talking and filling us in on everything you do. It's
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, great business, and hopefully people listen in and learn something. So, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
ALFA Endurance. Be authentic, be accountable, be disciplined.